I have a 1994 XJ12 on an XJ40 chassis, and it's had a problem for a while with the wet carpet on the driver's side. And I've smelled and seen this on a number of these XJ40 body styles. I used to own an identical one to this one, and it was also wet on the driver's side. You can see evidence of where it's gotten wet with all these lines on the carpet where the water line came up. Rusty cover for the power seat relay, rust in the floorboard. So, not to mention the musty smell. Wanted to find out what was causing this, and started by pulling the parts out of my car to get a better look at where the water was coming from. So what I wanted to show you is what I found. Different blogs talk about this, and there isn't a whole lot of feedback on the blogs where people have said, yeah, I found the problem. So I thought I'd tell you what I found in looking. I pulled this little panel off here. It has about 4 or 5 screws, and also this little trim there to hold it in place. Once you pull that panel down with Phillips screwdriver, you can also pull the knee bolster off. And that comes off again with a few Phillips head screws, and you can take those out pretty quickly. I just have a couple of them in here to make this video a little bit shorter. The other screws over here in the corner that I left in. Once you get this knee bolster down out of the way, the other thing I found useful was to get my instrument cluster and pull that out. So I'm going to rest this right here on the center console. The instrument cluster, you first want to pull this steering wheel down as far as it'll go, and then there are 4 screws. There are 2 going this way right here underneath the instrument cluster, and they pull right out with 8mm head socket, and then 2 more over there. And you have 4 connectors, a blue one for the headlight switch and the yellow one for the cruise control and the trip computer, and then you have 2 right in back of the display that you have to kind of reach up behind and disconnect. And then the instrument cluster should tilt forward and come out, and you should be able to just pull that up and get it out of the way so that you can see better what's going on inside the driver's side here. So what I found when I got in here on my car was there's like this rust spot over here. I pull the carpet back a little bit. You can see where that rust spot is. And that seems to tell me that there's water coming in that one spot. And what I did was I started to look up a little bit, see where that water's drooping down from. And if you look up here, you'll see right away that there are 2 rusty bolts here. One holding up the brake booster, and the other one on the steering column support. So this one on the brake booster, that's the nut holding the brake booster on. Definitely rusty there, and then stripping down here and going down to my accelerator pedal escutcheon there. And I believe where that water is originating from is this through hole on the firewall where the heater core comes. You see the 2 copper pipes for the heater core. Looks like this corner right here is where water is dripping into the rubber sound deadening material. See, it's kind of cracking there, and then it's accumulating on these nuts and bolts, dripping down probably behind that rubber sound deadening material, and then making its way down onto the carpet and the foam from my floor. And I think that's where the water is coming from. I did a little further investigation. I want to show you over here in the engine bay. So if I pop the hood, we have the we have this view now of the firewall, and to investigate this I want to pull the cover right here. So what you got to do is pull the nut off the wiper arm, get the wiper arm up out of the way, just kind of toss that over here, and then this plastic cover comes right off as well. Has a little metal piece there for the wiper arm. And then there are also, when you pull this up, you'll see the two connectors on each of the wiper nozzles. So there's a heater connector, and then there's also a connector for where the water squirts out. And I'm just going to put that cover back here, get it out of the way. I also put this nut back on here so I don't lose it. So the water gets in here over time, even though there are nice little filters to keep debris out. If you park the car outdoors like I do, or you don't have a cover on it, you'll probably encounter the same issues I have. People online have said that water could also seep in through the seal on your windshield. So my previous owner said they'd replaced the windshield twice and they still had a water leak, so I felt like that was probably not my issue. It's also good to check your the drains on the front of your sunroof. I pull the sunroof back and then squirt water with a hose down through the drains, and the drains are supposed to go right down here through the A-pillar down to the ground, so I just squirt water in there and make sure it flows. So those are two possible sources of water in your car. But I think what I found is I found a lot of dirt and debris inside here, and you can see there's a leaf falling down. I parked the car outside. So the debris, what it ends up doing is finding the low spot, which is this cover for the wiper arm motor. And if you pull back your little breather tube or crossover pipe here, you pull that back, get it out of the way. You'll see right down here is the drain. See right there? That's the drain for my wiper motor housing, and that drain gets clogged when there's debris that gets down in here. And I put a tie strap on here to keep it on securely, but you don't need to. I think when you find it, you'll see that it's just held on there by friction. But pulling that sucker off, getting your small fingers out, pulling that off, that'll get you. There you go. You can see right through it. Get that sucker cleared out. Make sure that it doesn't stop up, because what happens when it stops up is the water level gets high, and you can accumulate water inside this plastic housing. And guess what's right below the plastic housing there? Your heater core. You got your two tubes running into the car with a little rubber seal, and that rubber seal is 20 years old, 30 years old. It's not doing the job it used to. And if you spray water there like I did earlier, you'll see the water dripping right into the car. So this little seal, if you want to fix it up, you can, if you don't feel like pulling your whole heater core out, pulling the evaporator core and everything out of there, you can probably just get away with some silicone, seal up those holes around it, make it a little bit watertight there. I've also pulled back this plastic housing, which is slight job. You have 3 screws, 8mm head on the top, and you have 3 clips on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but there are 3 clips that you slide on the bottom. There are also 2 tie straps that hold the wiring harness up, and so if you have to clip those straps, and it's slightly difficult to pull this out. You have to maneuver it so that you can get the get the motor out of there because it's pretty tight. But that you can also silicone, put a little silicone on the seal back here where my finger is, and that keeps the water from dripping down right there on top of the heater core where it goes in. And that should seal it up, keep it from leaking until you have a chance to pull your whole heater core. Those are about the biggest issues I've seen, and I think sealing those up before you replace your carpet, before you replace your backing foam, that should do your trick and get you back on the road with a dry Jaguar. Thanks for watching.